Alright, so I'm going to do a little speech about the St. Louis Arch. It's located in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm going to just talk about a few things about it. First of all, arches represent expansiveness of sky, and they built the arch to represent the Louisiana Purchase, is why they built it. So some cool facts about the arch is presidents actually are not allowed in the arch just because of how tight it is, and they can't have security in there with them unless it's just like a one-time deal where they're all in there. So the only president that was allowed to be in there was President Dwight Eisenhower, because that was around the time whenever they built the arch, so he was allowed to go in there. The Gateway Arch is 630 feet tall and 630 feet wide, with the bottom of it being 54 feet wide and the top is 17 feet wide, and 160 people can actually be in the arch. The arch is made out of stainless steel. It's the world's tallest arch, and it's the tallest man-made monument in the Western Hemisphere. So they destroyed about 40 blocks to build the arch. They destroyed like about 300 businesses or so. They dozens of warehouses and cast iron buildings. Whenever they built the arch, these are some pictures, some older pictures of whenever they built the arch, and you see over here is they started from the bottom and worked their way up to the top. They was actually had to, if they were off just 1/64th of an inch, whenever they built these two trusses over here and got all the way to the top, it wouldn't even have met and it wouldn't have evened up at the top. So I don't know what they would have done then. Maybe take it down and rebuild it. This is some guys, they didn't even have harnesses, it looked like, back then whenever they were working on it. The insurance was real expensive. They actually estimated that 13 people would die, and nobody died. Actually, 13 people just built the arch. It was designed by a guy named Eero Saarinen in 1947. Construction began in 1963 in February, and then they finished it in October of 1965, and they opened it in 1967. So the arch is actually made to take high winds and earthquakes. The arch is actually, the top of it right here, you can feel it sway 18 inches both ways. I've actually been in it, so I've got to experience that myself. Each side of the arch is in triangular shapes as it goes up to the top. It cost $13 million to build it then. That's $100 million today. And the money was funded by the city and government combined. So this next one is a ride up to the arch. There's actually 8 capsules, and each capsule holds 5 people. And whenever they built that, they come up with the idea of it's like a Ferris wheel. So it's kind of like a Ferris wheel and an elevator at the same time. So as you ride in what's called the tram, it goes up, but it tilts like a Ferris wheel. Every so many seconds or minutes as you go up, it'll tilt. And that's to keep you level as you go up. So the guy that actually invented the tram had no experience with engineering whatsoever, wasn't even trained, no degree or nothing. And he come up with this idea, and they actually used baby elephants to test the weight of the tram as it goes up. So this is a picture of the top of the arch. As you can see, the windows are pretty small, and they actually really are pretty small. This is a view from the St. Louis Arch window. As you can see, you have a beautiful view of St. Louis. You can watch games from up here with binoculars whenever the St. Louis Cardinals play. And they actually clean the arch, actually. So these are actually some guys up on the arch cleaning. I don't know how well they get it cleaned, but I'm sure it probably takes a while. And there's some pretty brave guys up there cleaning on the arch. So there was actually a guy that climbed the arch and parachuted. Yeah, he got in some trouble for that. Don't say his name over there, but that's him right over there. And this is inside the arch. As you can tell, it's not very big in there. Like I said, it holds 160 people, so it can be tight. Definitely don't want the president in there and security trying to be in there with him. And it feels really weird whenever you lean over and look out that window. It really does. Well, that's my speech about the St. Louis Arch. I hope y'all enjoyed it and learned about it. Maybe y'all go check it out yourself. It's actually really cool. Thank you.